All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Salty Saturdays. I'm Wild9. I'm the host, I guess, and the stream operator for tonight. And with me to cast our match for tonight is Kodamora. How's it going, Kodamora?
It couldn't be better. It's Saturday night. We got some Hearthstone. We got a great matchup. I mean, you got two second place teams, a close week, match going on this week. Yeah, can't wait to witness it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a Hero Series match. It is cross conference. We do have two teams that are pretty close, and their week match is just off by one right now.
Yep, nine
Extraterrestrials
to
are up
eight.
9-8. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I'm told by Geranium Battle that there's a match going on right now that's in game 5, so another very close match. So we'll
Ooh.
see what the results are, I guess, before this game starts. But obviously it's going to matter, right? No matter what.
And especially since we've seen a lot of sweeps early on, right? So last hero standing, it's you can bring that one deck and kind of just take it all. So there's a lot of points just kind of sitting here. If you were kind of in this spot, you're looking at these lineups. What's your strategy here? I mean, is it the easy warrior ban, or are you trying to play mind tricks and going for something else? What are you thinking?
Yeah, we have Paladin and Warrior are both in, and then we've got
Hmm.
Priest and Rogue on one side and Mage and Shaman on the other. Um I think if I'm Vampire Nighthawk, I would be I would feel more flexible, and I think it's mainly because of the
Yep.
priest. Although I guess Uranium could ban the priest, that might be a potential strategy. So, but I kind of do feel like having the priest lets you kind of. It depends on whether you. I mean, I don't know. This is the 3 seed, so if Boar Priest is in the mix, then I do feel
Yeah.
like you can feel more comfortable leaving Pally and Warrior up, just because Boar Priest is a pretty good answer to slow Paladin at least, and well, actually even Mech Paladin because you run silences and things like that. But if that's not in the mix, then I agree with you. I do think Warrior Band is probably solid here, especially kind of protects the Paladin for the most part, unless you were running Mech Pally, and then you don't want your Priest to get banned or your counter to Warrior to get banned, and there's not a lot of counter to Warrior from what I'm seeing. What's your thoughts on this?
You kind of took the words out of my mouth. I mean, as strange as it sounds, it comes down to the priest play, right? It comes down to if you're bringing board, then you leave up warrior, leave up paladin, and you just kind of go after it. Yeah, what is your level of comfort with board is what it comes down to, right? How often you get to play it, how comfortable you feel with it. I think it's super strong. If not, then it's an easy warrior ban. If on draining battle side, I mean, are you so scared that they're going to bring board and they're going to leave up? I mean, that seems like an easy kind of next level play, right? So you have the first level thinking, okay, if I bring board, I'm just going to ban. I'm going to leave up warrior, I'm going to leave up paladin. But then on Drain Battle side, do you just ban the priest just thinking that's the game plan? And then it's this warrior matchup, which, I mean, I think without a doubt, warrior is the strongest deck going on right now. Be very interesting to see. And with that mindset, what do you start with? Right? So, like, do you start with your number one, what you feel the best with, try to just get that 3-0, or you try to go Pally versus Pally to try to get one of them off the board? I mean, kind of what's the game plan here?
Yeah, I think it's pretty interesting right now too because I feel like in Hero there's a couple classes that don't have very many counters to it, and then there's a few classes that are just kind of good at everything, sort of,
Hmm.
or like the worst matchup might be 45-55 or 40-60 at the worst case scenario.
It has a
So
chance.
those even matchups classes is usually what I look to start because you're not really holding it to hard counter anything, at least in most cases. In that scenario too, though, personally, and this is again my personal like bias, you might say, I do still feel like Vampire Nighthawk has a little bit of advantage here because um, normally I would say Shaman is a reasonable kind of like it's kind of good against everything. Okay, it's like doesn't have a great matchup against Warrior, but even that is not too bad. Um, and so you could always use that as kind of a starting deck. But here, if you don't have an answer to Priest, then you kind of have to hold the Shaman. Shaman is one of the better answers to Priest. And
Mhm.
so it might be like, okay, during battle, maybe feels like he has to start Mage. On the other side, I think the Rogue probably starts in most cases, just because it's not really hard targeting any kind of response to anything, I don't think. And it's generally good against most things.
And for those classes, for Rogue, are we thinking the Thief Rogue that just kind of gives you all the plays and kind of cheating stuff out? Or are we thinking the Death Rattle Bomb that we've seen kind of pop up that
Yeah.
seems kind of limited? I
There's
mean,
definitely a lot
what are your
going
thoughts
on
there?
potentially there. I do think that I just think of the pirate warrior, or the pirate thief or whatever, right? The thief rogue that's running the pirate package. But it's you're right. Like people are even running jackpot rogue, so like it's interesting. You
Yep.
know, there are a lot of in the last 2 days or so. I feel like there have been a lot of interest in some other rogue builds.
And speaking of the Shaman, I mean, we're putting this on Burn Shaman, right? I mean, I've
Yeah,
played it. It seems pretty strong. I mean, I know Murlocs is kind of fun, but with that much kind of control on the other side, I think Burn Shaman is definitely the play here.
yeah. So we do have the bands, and it is a double warrior band, so nothing like too crazy.
So that
Exactly
puts
what you
him
predicted.
basically on, yeah, basically a Naga Priest, right? Because
Yeah, it should be a Naga Priest, most likely. Okay. We are also being told to scroll up here. The Laughing Frog won 3-2.
oh
And
man,
so that
comes down to
means
this.
that uh oh wait. Yeah, Geranium Battle has to win to, and of
Yep.
course if Vampire wins, they win the week.
Oh,
Three
this is gonna
two,
be
does that put it at even? No.
no, because of the win, because the weak win gives you extra points. So
Right.
all set.
What is the
Even if
point
it's a
total? I don't even know which side Laughing Frog is on, so him telling me this, I'm like, wait, which side is she
he
on?
found awake past midnight. So they're the ones down 9-8. So on
Okay.
draining battle side. So the question is, if Vampire Nighthawk sweeps 4-0, then is that a tie?
Yeah, so Laughing Frog was the one who won on a 3-2. So what's the score
Yeah.
now then overall?
Oh, you're gonna make me do math. It's plus three is is 11 to. It's actually tied right now, 11-11.
Okay, 11-11. So, yeah, so it is whoever wins this match basically, right?
Well, you get 4 points for the win, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, yeah,
Is this
if
the last
Vampire,
match?
yeah,
Is there one
whoever wins.
more?
No, this is it. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
that's
is
what
it.
I
This is
thought.
it. Yeah, whoever wins wins.
Okay, they are going in right now, I think. We'll see what they chose.
I am jumping in.
Brawl! Let's do that! I will fight with
Looks like
honor.
Shaman
For
against
Doomhammer.
Paladin.
Interesting, starting with the shaman.
Yeah.
Man. Okay, yeah, and it definitely is. That's not the starting hand you want. So let's toss these away.
Right.
What are you kind of looking for in starting hands here? I mean, I don't think any of this is keeps on any sides, but kind of what are the cards you're looking for?
Well, I might be bugged. They haven't mulliganed yet, right?
They have not mulligan yet. I have
Okay.
not seen a mulligan yet.
Making sure. I think that you're looking for things like Sleepbreaker. It depends on your read a little bit. Like you could keep Wind Chills here if you think it's Mech Pally, but if you think it's Holy Pally, then you're definitely tossing that. You're probably looking for things like Sleepbreaker to cycle through a little bit. Cookie the
That's the
Cook
Snowfall Guardian.
maybe.
There
Definitely
we
for
go.
Wildpaw
Farsight.
Caverns.
Yeah. It looks like he kept Snowfall Guardian, unless it was bugged out on my end and he drew the other one. But
Yeah, it's an interesting
that's
keep, and
ambitious.
it might be. because he's thinking it's Mech Pally. That's my
That is
main
true.
thought there. Is that maybe you're
Yeah.
trying to freeze the board, but Holy
Reporting
Pally
for
you're
duty.
not really interested, I don't think, in freezing any. He does have the Viper for potential carryall, so he chooses not to trade it here, which is interesting. Maybe just
I'd rather have it in hand. I mean,
yeah.
this is a slow game at this point. He knows it's not mech. He's playing for the long. You
Reporting
have
for
time. You'd
duty.
rather have it in hand than have to, for some reason, be at the bottom of the deck or 4 cards from the bottom so you can't dredge it.
Right.
We're going to far side. Let's hit something big. What are the good ones here? Cavern, bioluminescence would be nice. There we go.
Oh, that's good.
Good one.
You can throw it down now.
Yep, slam it down. Yeah, slam that down.
Yeah, he's getting the news that it's probably Holy Pally since double hero power.
that tends to be a good giveaway.
Yeah.
Good
Carryall
hits here.
turns out to be real
Discount.
nice.
It's nice to controls the board, takes care of two of the spawns, so that's always good. Another far sight. I think
So the question is here, does he start to play some of these other spells? I assume the lightning bolt will
that's
come
always
down.
the question, right? With this deck, that's always the question. That's a good one. I think you have to not be afraid to burn your spells early. You just need 1 or 2 late if you do it right and you build up a good board. School teacher tends to be really good to see what you get with a student. I always try to wait to see what I get there to kind of see what my long-term game plan is with burn. Early flashlight just for card draw.
With every step.
And if you're Vampire Nighthawk, what are you looking for here? What is your game plan?
I think the biggest thing is carryall. Like with this deck in particular, you're trying to cycle into the carryall. That's your win condition ultimately, especially in this matchup in particular, where if you just let Burn Shaman do its thing, it will eventually get you, especially if you don't have the weapon up. He doesn't know whether his opponent is running Viper, right? So that's part of it too, is like, yeah, so he's just going to try to draw as many cards as possible, try to get to that carryall, and then get a combo down. In a way, you are on a soft clock, just because the Shaman can get a lot of value. If they get Brucon down to you, they can, if you just let them do whatever they want, they'll eventually do some chip damage, and then they can set up a big bioluminescence turn, right?
And knowing we have the perfect caster vision here, we know that the Viper's in hand. What are the outs that Vampire Nighthawk has here on kind of trying to win, even though he won't have that kind of, the mitigating for the damage that's going to be incoming.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one thing you're trying to do, this is interesting.
Yeah, I think he's school teacher every time. I think school teachers are so key to this deck. It's what you get off student can really dictate how the direction it goes.
Yeah, I think one thing that's really interesting, some of this I feel like he wants to set up a big, the Bird Shaman wants to set up a big multicaster. That's why before I was debating, when he played that far sight, I was kind of thinking, oh, he could just play the dredge there, but now he does get a really big multicaster coming up next. He's putting some pressure on the board as well, so that's a very productive turn. I do think that from Vampire Nighthawk's perspective, you're trying to think about how to build some kind of big board. He does have 2 Garden Graces in hand, so he could create just kind of like a huge board and hope that like when I say a huge board, I actually mean a tall board, and then hope that there's not enough freezes to stop that, basically, right? Because otherwise, you just can't let your opponent do whatever he wants. Like that's the big problem here. If you just let your opponent do whatever they want to do, that can have some real repercussions in the long run. Oh, he's running double Viper as well.
Oh, he really doesn't like Paladin.
Proper hate towards the Pally, yes. So he is probably really happy to see the Pally come out first against the Shaman. This is one of the more favored matchups specifically for Burn Shaman. So especially if you're running double Viper, I mean that's pretty huge.
Yeah, the play of casting totem instead of trading away the Viper is interesting. Not just it's a different line because the card's just kind of sitting there, and There's not a lot of threat on the board. I guess you wanted to keep your the Blade Master safe. So I guess, high rolling the taunt was something.
Predictable.
Counter the spell.
The other thing I was thinking about from the Holy Pally's perspective, and something that he does have going for him right now, is he hasn't taken a lot of chip damage. I think that that's also really good. One of the things you can do is to hope that they burn you down, but they can't kill you. And in that scenario, you can always heal back up and make it so that they kind of run out of burn in some sense. You have so much removal too, so that you can kind of remove the board with wild pyros and
I wonder.
your I'm bad with names. Card that makes everything 1 health.
yeah.
And so,
Equality.
Yeah, equality. There we go. And
I'm
so,
the same way. It
yeah.
does this. That's all I need to know. I don't need
I
to know.
know
the
that's
name.
exactly how it is. I just know what it does.
School teacher here seems to be the play. I mean, the 6 on the board is really not threatening. You don't need to freeze anything yet. Get the school teacher down, see what the student is, and that way you can actually set up your, the Bolner. You can set up your macaws. A lot of times I don't use the macaws for freezes. I use it for whatever effect comes off the school teacher. So,
Right.
or do you play another cavern just to start kind of filling up the board more?
I think the other cavern's not terrible, but he seems to be looking at the freeze here, which is kind of interesting. Maybe he thinks that he's not going to get any more value. Like, Holy Pally doesn't usually have 3 minions on the other side of the board, and he's got his own 3. So it's kind of reasonable. He does have follow-up. He could Bolner and, Brilliant Macaw and make another huge board. The problem is, of course, is he hasn't baited out any equalities yet or anything like that. So, and also the Righteous Defense here. So these are pretty obviously big. He's going to hit the Smite. So that is something. He actually has a massive combo in hand. Which is next turn Cariel hero power, and then you're gonna have a massive smite and just kind of one shot kill him if you can. The Brukan is really nice here. I do think it's the play just because not only is it nice 8-on-8, and it clears the board very nicely as well.
Yeah.
But you actually want value here. You want free damage basically, which is always a good thing. Okay, that's interesting. I thought there was a decision to be made there, whether you build the taunts or you build the 6 to face. But 6 to face, I think, is fine. He doesn't have bioluminescence in hand or anything like that, so.
Well, he has no spell damage in hand either, so
right.
that's where it's kind of, you just try to fill up the board and find more time. Then we see Cariel.
A massive Mr.
Oh,
Smite.
No other minions in hand. I mean, this is just perfect setup from. When I asked earlier on, how do you eat it?
This is lethal. This is lethal.
Yeah.
That he has in hand. So, especially since he has no other minions there, and when he played that Righteous Defense, right, he only had 1 minion as well. I actually don't see an answer, which is like
school teacher into student into double taunts.
Right. Okay. He is looking.
None of that is it.
Good.
Maybe Maelstrom just to see if it spawns. Is there a 1-drop?
He'll get a random one, right?
Yep, he's a random one. And nope. That should be it.
Yeah, I think so.
Ooh, man. I think he knows it too. I mean, he didn't cast. Kept the Viper in hand.
I mean, yeah. Stealing away that 9/9 was pretty huge. Bad day. I mean, that's really tough for him since the Shaman seem to be equipped to try to deal with this matchup.
Absolutely. When you're targeting it, I mean that this hurts, and then the rest of the matchups are, I think, only get harder from here.
Exactly.
Can we see it?
That's
you didn't have to hero power.
Yeah, I know. He could have, but he didn't have to. It would have been a 50-50. He finally drew another minion.
Fine. Well, good one. Vampire now takes game 1. Man, it was even with the double Vipers, he still had the outs and made it look easy.
Yeah, Cariol came down in time. He was never really under any pressure. There wasn't really any minion pressure that Dranium Battle was able to put on in any way, shape, or form. So it made it tough for sure. Find any kind of lethal out. I think that in some ways, Dranium could have prioritized the multicaster perhaps, like just to kind of turbo draw. I do think like getting that down one turn earlier and just trying to create more pressure with spells in particular could have been helpful, but hard to do it when I mean you can't really expect your opponent just to have all the exact right cards and hit on Mr. Smite and all that sort of thing, right? So that
Yeah,
was a
I mean
plus
that was a
13 plus
perfect
13
draw.
buff on Mr. Smite out of
Yeah,
nowhere. So
yeah. It was perfect draws. And how often do you have a paladin with no other creatures in hand? I mean, it was just everything lined up. And so now we see the mage into that same paladin. Definitely with the Vipers. I mean, he had a game plan coming in. Dranium knew he did not want paladin to sweep. So be
yeah.
interesting to see if it's double Viper.
Yeah, so this is Big Spell Mage, and this is one of the better decks against Holy Pally. So seems like the Shaman was just meant to have a chance against everything. I think overall, I think the approach seemed dead on. And then if you still don't beat the Paladin, then you follow it up with Big Spell Mage. This again because in general, Holy Pally can't put a lot of pressure on you, at least in theory. Um, you can kind of take your time and get some tempo plays. If you draw this deck out really well, like if it draws all in order, you can get some, kind of a lot of pressure with those dragons pretty early in the mid game. So it just depends on you draw well. I will say that the list that he's playing is playing Doomsayer, which is probably not the tech choice I would have made in this particular matchup if it was to try to target this Holy Pally, because I do think that there are lists that are running Mailbox Dancer, the thing that gives you coins, and that's pretty good in this matchup since the matchup is so slow.
Yeah, and you want to get those big spells done early, the big cast cost stuff early.
Yeah, and this seems like maybe he was more thinking about something like Priest. I do think that this list seems like it would be better against Naga Priest in particular. He's got the silence, he's got freezes. Um, okay, he has Belinda though in hand, which is massive. Belinda is just so good. He's going to be able to coin Belinda out and then follow it up with uh, okay, this version does run Blizzard, so it depends, I guess, on what he draws.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gonna be able to follow up with 5 mana spells, basically, which 5 mana, 10 mana spells, so to speak, discounted spells that are gonna be a little bit crazy. He also has the taunt too, so even if he didn't drop Belinda there, this sorcerer's taunt is also.
And you want to be careful not to just slam both big minions down, because it's from the dragons, right? Because then they can just clear the board. So you just kind of have to be careful about just kind of trickling everything out. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Definitely looks like the coin Belinda is going to be the play.
Based on this board state, I would imagine that he's hoping that one of these. I
okay.
like Belinda a lot more there, and he didn't get the discount he wanted. I mean, that's really unfortunate because that's the one spell in hand out of the 5 that one wasn't going to be a massive discount. But see, Belinda is just, I don't know, it's just better there because it guarantees that either Blizzard's your worst draw, but if you draw the Archmage, if you draw your second Archmage, then that's a really good card in this particular board setup. Because this is exactly where, even if he clears your Belinda, it's actually, like, maybe that's what he was thinking. He wants to save Belinda for a board state where he could maybe clear it and play it on an empty board. But even if he clears Belinda, having a 5 mana Rune of the Archmage would be super great.
Now we're going to see Varden into Doomsayer.
Yeah, that does look pretty clean.
You got 2 of them in hand, and then you save it for later on for the Blizzard into Doomsayer, which I think is kind of, it's good. It stops the chip damage, but the danger is that Paladin can always just buff away, right? So later it goes there's no way really for this mage to get out of reach.
So he can kill this, which is what he's doing. I actually really like it.
You like clearing this?
I think it's okay. I think it's interesting because of the way the game is played out. Like I think he's identifying that this is big spell mage, which means that he is kind of on the we gotta kill your opponent plan. If he just lets this draw out, he doesn't have enough removals to play the long game here, and he actually does have a reasonably strong board. It seems like, based even on the 6-drop play, that his opponent doesn't really have a great way to deal with it. So I think it's a very strange play. Maybe you think, oh, like how come, maybe you have to save this for some kind of combo or something. But I do kind of understand where it's coming from, because he actually has a lot of potential pressure, and this is huge. He's going to draw his deck. This is the new Holy Pally list.
Yep. This is the card draw is insane. It refills the hand. And the thing is, it gives Holy Maki Roll another purpose,
Exactly.
other than just removal and just late game after Tyrael kind of reset. Too often it was just a dead card where they were just dropping it down to a 1-of in previous list, right? So it's great utility. Not what you want to see when you're on the other side of it. The question there is, why trade in?
Yeah, I thought that he just I thought about that too a little bit, about that trading in. It made it look like he has Blizzard follow-up, which technically it does with the Parrot. He could have parried it there to cast Blizzard again.
He could have Zoloed him and then just had another freeze on board for the other Doomsayer and keep the Parrot for something else. I don't know. Interesting.
Right. No, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that would have been interesting. I actually like that better. Oh, it's a clear.
Yeah. That card does the things.
Yes.
Really?
Man, I'm so sad that Belinda, it feels like Belinda's not going to get played now. I don't know, just it's like kind of an awkward dead card now.
Yeah. It's one of those that sometimes you just get kind of playing catch up and you're always a turn behind.
Right.
And sometimes you just have to make the decision to slam it down or you're never going to play it. The problem is too many cards in hand.
The way Belinda works here is that it gives you tempo for the next turn. So in a way, you could argue, I mean, you're even tempoing that turn because you're making a huge minion. But even if they clear it, it's not that big a deal, because then you tempo out the next 2 turns, right? With your 5 mana, 10 mana spells. That is a big light ray.
But now we have...
Ooh, spammy. But out of range? Can he get there in any way? No.
No. It's almost like you're caught into just parroting and yellowing. Well,
you do have Starfish.
Yep.
Starfish is a card, but you could also, just parrot.
But the problem is the card draw, right? So sometimes that parrot just...
Honestly, I would just assume that he can't kill you. So I might take the greedy play here. I would probably trade the amulet back, play Belinda, and then just hope for the best. Just ping off the 2-1 or something. You can play it actually fairly slow here, because Holy Pally can't burst you yet. I mean, there's no he used Righteous Defense on a weak card. He hasn't had burial. There's no buffs. But he's gonna go ahead and use
Oh, there you go. That's clear. No card draw to burn cards. No card draw to burn cards.
Yeah, that's the scary part, right?
Nothing
turned out to be overkill by a lot.
Yeah.
Ooh. A lot of flurries and a lot of 0 mana cards.
Not the best idea. You know what? You cleared the board. I mean, I think that we can call that a win. I'm wondering if you just kind of play Belinda, maybe follow up with a Doomhammer just to have it make them deal with it on the board, right? Not protecting it really with anything. If nothing else, it buys you 7 health. Makes you play into it to try to remove it. If you don't draw anything. Spammy doesn't do anything here. Just go and play Belinda, see what it is, like this.
Oh, he's gonna rip this. Oh, okay. I thought he was just gonna rip it. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, Belinda? Yeah, all right. Hey, there's 1. Hey, there's 2. 10-10.
Going here just to freeze off the 4-8.
Sure.
12 cards left in deck.
So this feels like, well, I don't know, I guess, but I don't know actually. I was gonna say that it feels like, oh, maybe he has to rip the equality or something, rip a removal, or the
I don't
righteous
think he's
defense
committing
if he has
danger.
another one, but he doesn't in his hand. Oh, he does, he does. So he is using
I
it.
think
Yeah,
he's
he's
taking
just trying to
time.
make it hit the pyro or hit the. He's got a pyro and a smite, and it hits the smite. Man, every time this
Always.
guy. Oh, carry all on the bottom three and pulls it up.
And we see the Viper, but he's just not putting a lot of pressure. I mean, how if you're draining here, like how do you get there?
He has clears. He has actually. It's not the easiest clear. He could set up.
Because he doesn't have the other
Oh,
three.
I am not a huge fan of this, but I understand it.
I think you have to do something. Yeah, I mean, I think he feels the pressure. He has
Oh,
to do something.
Onyxia. Calicos doesn't give you the discount this turn. The taunt is not great. I think you have to Onyxia.
You think you have to mix, yeah.
The scariest thing is the 4/7. And when I say scary, I just mean that you have a spammy Arcanist. There are ways to get that spammy down to clear a lot of stuff. He was pretty close.
Goes for the taunt.
Ooh, I'm not a fan,
I
but
don't know. I don't know if it does enough, right? Because it doesn't stop the board. You can just trade into it.
oh,
He
he's
doesn't
trading the
have a follow-up.
Viper.
Job's done.
I think
He's gonna be
I think
sad.
yeah, I feel like he's trying to find the out. I think he feels the clock, and he received that equality. I think it's good. Get good value out of it.
Quality carry hero power. It gets him pretty close to lethal. The 6-drop, the smite is coming.
And seeing the Viper just traded away.
Oh, he has lethal now.
Oh,
Okay.
oh no.
I just didn't even see it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
We're procasters, guys.
I
We
do
see
think,
everything.
like, in a way, right, Vampire Hawk plays this really well because it makes the mage feel really awkward. Because actually the mage is supposed to be the beatdown here, but the entire game, the mage is on the back foot. And so, like, it just makes a lot of the decision making a lot more difficult.
Yeah, I think the turning point there came down to the Belinda play, slamming her early opposed to waiting a
Right.
couple turns. Those couple turns just didn't put the pressure down, and who knows what the draws would have been. I mean, you're dealing with random, right? There's a huge random factor with your spell casting, and yeah, it's well played on Vampire Nighthawk's side, and now we're down to Dream Battle's gotta reverse sweep this. He's down to,
Paladin versus Paladin, right?
I mean, anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
You got to look at, okay, so Vampire Nighthawk has had two great smite draws, always buffing the smite. Sometimes the RNG's got to flip back the other way. So now it's time for the tables to turn a little bit. What are you looking for in the opening hand here? When you're playing the mirror, I assume it's the mirror.
I'm very curious about that, I guess. But I guess you're right. It should be the mirror, and
Yep.
it
I'll
is.
fight hard, just like you
That's
taught
gonna,
me.
yeah. I mean, he's really well suited to beat Pally. Like, it's really unfortunate that he's 2-0 when his classes are kind of built matchup. Like, basically, his worst matchup is a 50-50. So,
Which is the mirror. Yep. And the thing is the especially when you're teching in the Vipers, which makes your deck weaker to everything else. You committed those slots and it didn't pay off, and that's always kind
right.
of frustrating. But that's
Yeah.
Hearthstone, and sometimes sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't. So look at Vampire Nighthawk's hand. He's looking to keep the flash just to draw, maybe.
Honestly, the reverse sweep potential really is there, though, because Priest and Rogue are not going to be great against this Pally. So,
It does come down
assuming
to this
it's
game.
yeah, assuming it's Naga Priest, right? Because of the warrior ban, like
Yep.
assuming it's Naga Priest, like even if he gets this 50-50, there's a real shot of him getting some points here.
I'll take a coin flip every day of the week.
Yeah.
Double Maki roll, so let's hope for card draw. This should be an easy city tax trade, right?
Yeah.
You don't need that.
Don't think
Yeah,
there's
you don't
anything
need
else to do here. Yeah, you're not gonna keep it, that's for sure. So it does seem like Terrain Battle does have the better hand here, essentially. Has actually cards to play in the first couple turns.
Not Is Dreamvale gonna coin the Bannerman just to draw the cards to keep it going, or is he going to hero power to draw the minion? Just draw
I
the
would
minion.
just play the Vitality Surge. Yeah, I think that's fine. It gives you more value to your Bannerman anyway, and coin could be more useful later on. Actually, reasonably useful.
Reporting for duty.
Just hoping, making sure. I think a lot of people are playing this newer list, right? No one's playing the old list, right?
No one's playing the old list. I mean, well, I won't say nobody. Very few people. Oh, there we seen early smite in hand. We always like that.
Yeah, they both have smite in hand, so definitely
Oh,
room for some
definitely.
shenanigans. Now the question
I
is, do
always
you
like
carry
field
all
power
this?
pass.
I am not sure about that carry-all. That was too fast in my mind. I would have thought about the Vicar hero power just to save carry-all a little bit, but the
Get more
card
cards in hand.
feels like the card has more value, and you're not really
Reporting for
trying to
duty.
kill your opponent. I mean, you are obviously, but this match
Yeah,
usually comes down to carry-all smite stuff.
yeah, we're thinking turn 13, 14, 15 on.
Right, exactly. So the pressure you do here, like, well, at least to me, a lot of it you just think, okay, a lot of it's just gonna get healed back anyway. Like, I mean, if he wants to go, the Blessing of Kings is a way to go. I mean, that is one way you can say, look, let's just try to kill him.
And he didn't have the answer for the return, right? So he had no way to clear. So there it is. I mean, it's one of those things that you would have saw the return carry out, right? To clear it off because they had one more
Well,
divine shield on it. So
yes and no. So I'll play devil's advocate a little bit there because I
please,
think
please.
I think Vampire Nighthawk's play there is really good where you just hero power because there's a recognition that in this matchup, it's just not, he's just not going to be able to get there. Now, having said that, he's getting fairly close but this Garden Grace is still 3 mana. He's getting fairly close to just bursting him out with this smite. He's going to get the, oh, let me say, oh, it's a full clear equality. Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't sure exactly, but I think that's smart. Like, so he recognizes, oh, okay, my opponent is going for some kind of crazy beatdown plan. So let me go ahead and play it safe and use the combo right there. But see, now, can you get there? Like, if you're, like, I guess you need Righteous Defense to hit Smite at some point off of a somewhat big minion.
Yeah, you want to make sure your hand's clear of as many minions as possible. So
right. I mean, you're kind of all in, and he's going to get the news next turn, though, that Carriel's going to come down. It's got to be the defense, right?
You got one in hand already. Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think you do. I mean, the other ones just don't do enough. I don't think
Which path?
He might be thinking Blessed Goods to find a minion to play right now, like some kind of Divine Shield minion to play right now to create some board pressure. Yeah.
Yep.
Like based on the way that the game is going, I can understand this idea. And then you probably take the Mooncatcher based on.
You take the Mooncatcher.
Oh yeah, everything else is pretty much trash.
The
thing
decision was made for him.
This is going to get Carriel removed, and he's even going to get somewhat punished by leaving this 1/1 up 2 turns ago. Very soft punish, but...
The value of the hero power.
I just, you know, it's funny, like, these kinds of matchups, especially the mirrors, like, it's very interesting to see people's take on it, because you can see Vampire Nighthawk do basically the complete opposite line, and part of it is based on what they have in hand, right? Oh, that's interesting. Yep. Yeah, that was a mistake, but that's fine. He recognized it. Yeah, like part of it is, you know that turn 5 hero power pass when your opponent created a fairly large board is just very telling about the way that Vampire Nighthawk was looking at the matchup, versus like Geranium Battle, who, you know, just snap plays on 4, plays the Carriel row, right? Basically, Nighthawk is just saying, yeah, this game is going to go late no matter what. Like, you will not be able to kill me in any way, shape, or form. And honestly, he got closer than you'd think. Like, it was actually much closer than you'd think there. Um,
He
but
didn't have Ariel in hand. He was
yeah,
definitely threatening,
yeah.
right?
But when
And
your opponent just hero powers all the time, your righteous defense isn't going to do anything for your smite, and you really don't have a clean way to get the damage in. Like it's really tough, right? You really have to have double Garden's Grace with the smite, and so the recognition of, oh, he took the Blessing of Kings and he's kind of pouring it out now. Let me just use my equality here because I need it. It's all very clean play here.
ooh, mm, I don't. Okay,
I mean, again, I do get it.
gets it out
Like
of hand.
he's kind
Yeah,
of all in on this. Like I have to kill him in pressure now
Yep.
because it's really hard to come back from the position that he put himself in based on the lines that he's taken.
With every step, the light
And also, your
guides you.
opponent has carriel and you don't, and that's like
Yeah.
honestly, that's just the biggest thing in this matchup. If you're in that situation, there's a feeling of we have to make something happen. The real question is whether or not Viper exists in
Yeah, that was what
Radiant's
my
deck.
next question was going to be. Is he looking for the Viper? If not, a Holy Mackerel is just going to make him feel really sad.
Smite
Which
is
I
at
think that
10.
next turn. Yeah.
He does also have equality. But once this Garden Grace gets to 0, it'll be very scary.
He needs to find his own carriel. Because the problem is that at this point, I think Vampire Nighthawk's is just going to heal up, and it's just going to
Whoa.
be a war of attrition.
Running out of time.
That seems,
That equality seems, the second equality here seems to me a little bit aggressive. I think you'd be fine just healing up to 29 and saying you don't have 60 damage.
well, not at this point. Yeah, he doesn't have enough time to do it now.
Yeah,
really
that's
the
true.
problem.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, he did run out of time there. So he just decides to leave it all up because you have equality Samuro too, right? So that gives you a clean clear without and while setting up a board.
Grant you peace.
Ooh, is this closed at all?
Dumps it here
Oh, interesting. Okay.
just to get, because he knows he gets it in, and it forces him to remove on board, gets the chip, gets it with it. Oh, there you go.
Right.
There
He
you
can
go.
eat it. So that's lethal.
That's lethal. There
Very
it is.
nice.
See, much smarter people than us.
Yeah, I wasn't even watching that. This is the last minion.
That not Machiavellian, which I thought would be the play, right? If you're already on that safe line, just take that turn, heal back up to full, and just make it no doubt. But finds a win, and this is anyone's ball game. This
For
is Training
sure.
Battle wins the 50-50, comes back and finds the lethal. Just a brilliant play, and now I think it's an uphill battle. If you're Vampire Nighthawk, you bring in Priest next, you bring in Rogue next. And now it depends on what rogue it is, but I mean, Priest does one thing and builds the board and tries to kind of outrace you, which is really tough into this matchup. Or with Rogue, I mean, who knows where that thing goes? If it's the jackpot thief Rogue, I mean, it could be it could be a very entertaining match or very boring. Depends on what those random cards come out with, but. Let's see here. Pirate to steal?
Well, it's a paladin, which means it's a rogue.
I will
Yep.
fight with honor.
I was like, wait a second.
Just like you taught me.
Very aggressive pirate rogue on Vampire Nighthawks. He's just going to try to outrun him. His goal has got to be beat him fast. So,
Ooh, yeah. The peasant, right? So very low to the
yep,
ground.
hasn't. Very, yeah.
I wonder what the stats are. I imagine Holy Pally is still third. Like going under certainly. I think in the other case, when you're not running the low cost cards, you're probably trying to get a combo with like Smite and Edwin down with the scabs, which is not the easiest thing to pull off. So this might be slightly better if you can get under. I don't know. While Pyro and Equality though, plus a one drop.
And Hero Power just, I mean, and if he follows the same path that Vampire Nighthawk did last time, just Hero Powers the whole time, it gives you little minions on board, just kind of challenges, they add up.
Right.
the Cutlass doesn't tell him anything yet on what rogue he's playing. Because that's the one thing Jurium doesn't know what rogue it is, right? So he doesn't know it's a super fast blow to the ground. Nothing's really been said yet. Hero power here seems good, but also, I mean, may want to draw just to get more minions in hand. But I like the hero power play here.
I do too. I like hero power as well. You actually, in this matchup, if you just, I mean, with most rogues, like for example, it could be the mine rogue, and in that scenario, you actually do want to save the heal for actually heal.
Yep.
What is it?
So interesting and kind of cute that like this peasant doesn't reveal you.
Yeah, but that follow-up does, and this is where, like, if you had hero powered, he had an easy clear on it. This is not a bad play, but they're drawing a card.
Yeah, Geranium Ballad is getting pretty much everything he wants in the right order, more or less, so that's always good.
Never bring a sword to a fish fight.
Good answer, for the most part.
Clean. Got value.
Ooh.
Oh.
Really?
I mean, yeah. But, that doesn't really fit your game plan, but it's a good card, good value, but I don't know if you're going to win the value game.
I guess the other two cards weren't great.
They weren't, yeah. But even I don't know. The fish put pressure on the board, and if that is the way this plays, I mean, maybe, but
This
I
feels
like
bad. I mean, he's thinking coin vessel, right? But this feels so bad. It feels bad not to hero power the shield off.
Maybe hero power and then just drop Maestro just to have a minion on minion on board, fills out the curve.
You can't always
Yeah,
I was thinking about reconnaissance, but I do like this better. And I would probably run the 3-1 in just because, but maybe that's wrong. They could heal the 2-5. Yeah, that's probably better. Like, you're not that worried about Wild Pyro or something. Like, it does clear, but not that big a deal. Probably worse if he heals this minion.
This is not the best kind of a dead turn here.
It is. I don't think there's much you need to do though. Probably just trade into the 3-2 hero power and you can pass. It's not that big a deal.
Is there any value of trading in hero power and just since you have 2 Maki rolls in hand, just kind of healing up this 2-5 because it's a real pain to get through, right?
That is pretty interesting. I do think you it's not Mind Rogue now, so you're not going to be under huge amounts of threat. The healing is less important if the game is going to go out, so I do kind of like that idea. Your opponent also just showed you that they didn't really have a good answer for your...
I like this.
Yeah,
I like this because it just makes it out of range. He has to trade in 2 things to it to kind of clear everything away. If he has null, I don't know if this deck runs null. It should, but I haven't seen it.
Smart to use the last one because it does matter.
Always. It always does. But there's no BM though. Okay,
just double vessel here, right?
Do you double vessel? Or you vessel once and try to bait it out, right? If you double vessel, you're giving them.
That's true.
You have no value, right? I like saving the second vessel for knowing you have one for the smite turn, right? So then you can smite, dredge it out, and get the extra 6 damage going to face.
Yeah. You know what would be cute here? It would have been coin and then using the SI7 exhortation to make it seem like you don't have the dredge.
Ooh. Now, what's interesting there is the Kravito is on the bottom. I think there may have been an idea there just to grab Kravito instead and leave the other Sunken City on the bottom, so that way you have Kravito in hand because it's
yeah, that's a good refill too, and then go right, and then you can go 6 into 7. Reasonable.
That's a threat down, and again, it saves that 6. The other 2 pirates for a smite turn later on. You're not just stuck on it.
The crazy thing is, this doesn't even feel like that much pressure.
Well, that's the other part of this is that you kind of need to start putting some pressure down, some pedal to the metal here.
Right.
The more turns that they can hero power. I don't even think you need to do this.
I'm not against this. Oh. So he's going to bounce between the 2.
Yeah.
Oh no, he can't bounce. He can save it. He can leave it at 1 life. Well, now you're committed. Oh, is he thinking
Yeah,
about Flash of
I
Light?
think he just realized he miscounted this one a little bit, maybe.
I think he's thinking about Flash of Light. He could Flash of Light the Sunfish. It's 1 move. Oh, okay. I see. You just want just whether or not to keep the Sunfish alive or keep the Wild Pyro alive. That's fair.
I think keeping the 2/5 is right.
Yeah, I like that.
The 3/1 isn't going to do anything.
Uranium's hand is actually somewhat awkward. I mean, he gets Immortalized in Stone on 7. I was going to say, like, I do like clearing off the 3/3s so you can get even more value from Immortalized in Stone. You could have played greedy there, though. I don't think it's wrong either. Like, you could have also just, like, Hero Powered and passed or something super greedy. Healed your taunt again with Flash of Light. I mean, I don't mind that either, honestly, but I do think that does give your opponent a lot of value against this Immortalizing Stone. And this way, this card should get a lot more value now. Okay, now the Krakatoa comes up.
Ooh. Running into some taunts. Yeah,
I mean, you could slam this on the 2/4 too, which
you
I
could.
really like.
Yeah.
I think is fine. You actually are representing lethal before scabs, like just with that play.
That was the perfect draw. Yep. Because even this isn't going to do it, right? So 7.
Right. How do you deal with the 7/9?
Because without taking
should have probably traded. Oh, I guess there's reason not to trade first, but
trading 4/8 and then swing at the 2/4 and then trading the 4/1. Yeah,
this is nice.
This is lethal, right?
But yeah, it's lethal, right? Still 8 + 6 is 14.
7 to 6 is 13. That's he's got it. And this is what we talked about. You know, turning that corner. And here it is. Light hand goes nice, clean, and Silver Scrapes. We go to the game 5.
Very nice.
Tight match, exciting match. It's exciting, but it's almost like it's more struggle for Vampire Nighthawk, right? Because it's had the good play, got the Paladin through 2 tech matchups, and now it comes down to what we assume, based on the bans, is going to be Naga Priest. And now Naga Priest can do crazy stuff in the beginning. It gets an early turn. They don't have early removal. It can run away pretty quickly. Let's see.
Yeah, he's gonna need to dodge those 4 removal cards, right? It's gonna be the 2.
Toss for the wigs. Toss for the wigs.
The Righteous Defense and also the other card. It gives things one. Oh, he has both. Caster Curse.
Not the early wig. Let's see if you.
Yeah, no wig.
Really, the wig is what makes it. Wig or just to go get it. The card draw.
Right. I wonder why he doesn't just play the Slither Spear at all on 1, just because.
You should. You need to start putting things down because you wanted to, if nothing else, put things on curve.
Yeah, because he had the Scribe on 2, even if he draws a wig. So, because I kind of think that you just play the Vicious Slither Spear anyway, even though you're not getting any wig value. And it's not like you have any like reliable way to pull the wig from your deck.
Drop the 3/4.
Okay, this makes sense too. Yeah, I like this.
Gets that a minion, and then thims out your deck, gives you a better chance to draw wig. That's all you're trying to do.
I mean,
no spells in hand. That's always sad for the priest when you have no spells in hand.
Draw minion seems reasonable. Okay.
The thing about priest is that it takes a turn to set anything up. So even if you leave 1 on the board, obviously we haven't seen the wig early, so you're feeling pretty confident. Definitely you just steal the 1/5 trade.
I mean, I just think you're gonna get more
Just to keep the
value.
health down low.
I think you're
But he
just
has
gonna need it.
equality in hand
That's true.
still.
You do have
Yeah.
equality. Maybe I'm just too greedy. I
It's
want
not
to
a
see
threat
some
yet, but
combo
I don't
cards
think there's.
played
Yes.
before I hit
He's
these
not I mean,
cards,
in
you know?
danger. Yeah. As a control deck, you like to have two answers always in hand, right?
That's true,
One
yeah.
answer for the next threat and for the follow-up threat. So as long as you always have two answers in hand, you feel really safe. It's when you only have one answer left that you get kind of jumpy. You
Sure.
take the consecration. Yep. I was
Yeah, I
going to
don't
say,
mind
because now
consecrate here.
equality consecration is great. Now you have two. Yep.
I mean, how come every time I play against this deck? I'm sorry. When I
They
play
always got
against
double
Priest,
break
it's
hand.
never this slow. Good God.
This is when we talked about the opposite side of RNG, we're seeing it here, right? This is the opposite of game one for Vampire Nighthawk. And Dranium,
Yeah.
I mean, his game plan here is just kind of not under any threat. I would just still Bannerman, even Hero Power at this point, right?
Which
You're not in
path
any real
to
danger.
choose?
5 is still not enough to go off unless, even if he was holding everything, still not enough to be lethal. You can clear it, and then you have a Holy Micro roll to follow up the next turn because it takes a turn to reset everything. I mean, I think you just Bannerman and Hero Power.
I think you don't hero power. The only reason is for Shadow or Devour. I just,
That,
Male light.
yeah,
I mean, eventually you probably play the minions, but you actually kind of want these minions to die. Because you
that is
just,
true.
the Devour is the other way that they just combo you from nothing.
Now.
Because the truth is, you want to use these removals after you've seen, like, some of the combo, like after Elemental comes down, for example, or something like that, rather than
Yeah,
rather
whenever
than
I
just
see a
like
health of like
because you
6 or 7.
preemptively have to play around like Elemental wig or something crazy, you know?
Hmm. If I see my opponent, if I'm playing against Priest and I see my opponent hit like that 6 or 7 health, that's when I start being really concerned. If you can keep it below that, it takes them a lot to get above, right? So as long as you can keep the minion's health below that 6 or 7 mark, I use that as kind of a gauge of my danger zones if I have full health.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, I just have nightmares of this
Wishing.
deck, so let's be honest. So
That is the latter. See, now this is dangerous, and now this is something I
right.
remember. It's stuck on the board. It can attack next turn.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, this feels so bad from the Paladin's perspective, and I really like the play because you don't know your opponent has nothing, which is basically
Mhm.
what's going on. But that 110 just feels like, yeah, I can't let this live. Like, it threatens
Wait,
lethal without
yeah.
with basically using one card, which is Devour. So now you have to remove.
What would Uther
Now you don't
do?
want to overcommit, right? So is there a world where you just because if Righteous Defense, you're looking for a big minion, but if the big minion hits the board, you're most likely in the lethal range, right? So to me, it's almost like equality's a good answer. You can just double trade in and clear the board, and everyone's happy. Righteous Defense
Well,
is
you could
a
also consecrate
yeah.
because it does give you the Garden's Grace. Yeah, this is reasonable. You have follow up with Leviathan. The thing is, Priest only has one card or a 2 card combo to come back on board pretty much. I mean, they can steal the minion. That's the other thing they can do, which is what they're going to do here.
I've got plenty of mojo to
But this is easily answered by Leviathan, which you have in hand. The other way they come back on board is Bless plus Samuro. And that doesn't even do it against Garden's Grace because of the divine. Actually, no, Bless plus it will actually it's just 1 out of range actually. It would have come back. But that's the only way they get to come back on board. So if you could establish the board and keep it, it's pretty tough. This is definitely establishing a board.
The best they can do right now is the Samurai plate and then silence a shard, but the shard doesn't do enough. Like it minimizes the board, but doesn't. You want to save that for the taunts that are going to follow, so you can get through.
Yeah, you are hoping that they don't have shard here. Like that is their kind of out, so to speak. But you're going to be putting on a lot of pressure.
I like Cariel because it challenges the board, so they can never really establish anything.
Yeah, I was thinking about Surge just because I want to draw more stuff, to be honest. It's super greedy, but
Yeah, it's like at this point, I don't know if you need much more. You just need to
Right.
control the board because
You're right.
from board. So as long as you just play the long game, you draw your deck out, doesn't matter. But you always have those answers.
Well, this is gonna be a
I don't
turn,
know.
but
It is a
he's
turn.
close to dead. I mean, he
Looks
should
like
still
it's-
live unless he goes face with Leviathan and finds, and the third card that's on the bottom is Garden's Grace. Yeah, I never know how to play this honestly from the perspective of priest when you're behind on board. This feels so horrifying.
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that I don't know. It just feels like, what am I even doing? And why are we
Yeah,
doing it?
that is really that's the truth of it. You have to be ahead. I think he knows. I
Well
mean, this
played.
is
Yeah. Well, he's 2 damage off lethal right now. I believe, right? Could find a holy spell.
you got
Could
carry
find
all this.
one.
Right? Yeah,
Potential out. You could draw a holy spell. Cool.
I mean, just to put it.
Nope, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Just end it, right? End his misery.
Woo! What a series! What a match! What a week! What a great win! Great comeback.
Yeah, really good reverse. So, Holy Pally is a good deck.
Some say it's a good deck.
That is what we
is
learned from tonight.
And
gosh.
Pit Vipers don't do anything. So that's the tech. Don't
Yeah.
run Pit Vipers.
Who cares? Viper irrelevant. Does not do a thing against this deck. All right, we should have time for an interview if he's able and willing.
I always like good series. I always like close series. And trying to, when you're in that position of like, how do I get out of this spot, right? Like it's one of those things of like playing to your outs, and then just it's interesting to see different players' mindset. Ooh,
Oh, sorry.
good job.
Yeah, definitely. The mindset thing I think is huge, right? But I think it's good recognition too. Like we were talking about it, right? That if Durham can win that 50-50, could easily get that reverse sweep.
Get the reverse.
Hey, Geranium, how's it going?
Oh man, literally holy moly. Just
We,
holy
kind of-
paladin back and
Yeah.
forth, Jesus.
We saw the tech of the Viper in your other decks. What was your mindset kind of coming into the match, and then how did you see it kind of play out after the game 1 and game 2, where it just, even with the Vipers in hand, it just wasn't enough?
I'm really sorry. I'm going to quick leave call and jump back in. I think I was lagging really hard, so it's 1 second.
Okay.
He just doesn't like my questions. He's dodging.
He's
You heard it
dodging,
here.
yeah.
He's dodging.
Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, my Discord really lags if Hearthstone's open. Anyways, to answer your question, I actually just literally brought the same decks that I brought last week against Yachtster. They are supposed to all sweep all 3 of his decks. Yeah, I mean, in practice, one of them swept. So hey, it's
There you go.
33% of the time it works every time.
You got to take those odds in Hearthstone, right? I mean, anything above a 10% chance, I'll take.
Yeah, I was really worried that it was just going to be a repeat where Rogue just super duper aggroes me, but his Rogue draw just wasn't quite it. So got lucky there. And then he said he had lethal the next turn with the Paladin and with the Priest. So feeling lucky.
With the Paladin and with the Priest. Okay.
Paladin, I think so.
I didn't
With
see the priest one.
Yeah, I think the problem is that the priest has to keep a minion on board.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as long as you can remove that threat, always just keep it down. There's no way for it to proactively kill you from hand. And I mean, we saw your hand. We saw you had the answers already. Kind of clear everything for kind of 2 boards if needed. But he didn't draw any wigs in his opening hand for the first like 3 or 4, 5 turns, so he had no spells. And so it
Right.
was just that
Yeah.
happens sometimes
I
when
was
you run those decks.
I was feeling okay if he got a wig because I was saving equality. I was saving the make his man into a 1/1. But yeah, definitely feel like I lucked out games 4, game 5, even if I was very favored.
Did you put him on running Naga Priest, or was there concern that he's going to bring Boar Priest and then just try to run into the Paladin, try to run into the Warrior?
Well, I mean, as soon as he queued Rogue game 2, I'm sorry, game 4, I was like, yeah, it's definitely not Boar Priest. But I was very, I had some, I had some good decks against Boar Priest and the decks that weren't Paladin. Paladin, I was just planning to lose to Boar Priest. So really glad that he did not bring that.
I'm
Well,
curious,
yeah.
in prepping for the 3 seed, is the read just it's not going to be Board Priest?
Uh, the read is if it's Boar Priest, hopefully they misplay it enough to
Okay.
where I get an extra turn.
Right.
And with that extra turn, maybe I can set up enough. But yeah, I mean, like I've been playtesting against some of the best Boar Priest players. So, it's if it does end up being a really good opening, I feel like I'm somewhat prepared for that. Thanks to my team.
Yeah. There
Well,
are some ways out for
It's
sure,
still pretty hard.
but it's hard.
yeah, with the Warrior ban, I think it kind of put him off the whole War Priest route because the Warrior seemed to want to go into the slower decks. So, but great win. I mean, clinching it in a close week. I mean, 2 place teams in their respective conferences and coming in clutch. I mean, how does it feel?
Man, I mean, it feels really good, especially because I was feeling like since I failed to bring it home last week, I felt like our team just wasn't like had no chance to make playoffs anymore, and now we have like some chance, slight glimmer of hope. Um, even if it was a 3-2 match record across this week, I mean, we got as many points as we possibly could, so I'm pretty happy for the team to be putting up a fight here.
Nice. Yeah, coming in
Uh,
clutch as the captain, right?
I'm not the captain.
Oh,
Bone
you're
Master
not.
is the captain.
Oh,
Bone
right, right,
Masters.
right.
No, no, we're like kind of co-captains in a way, but like Bone Master is definitely the APM captain for
Right,
sure.
right, right.
Um, yeah, you guys actually, Wild9, your team is the one that's blocking us out of the guaranteed playoff spot. So,
We had one match come back
uh,
and we did lose on a 2-3. So maybe that'll
okay,
help you out.
I'm on the edge of my seat watching your results come in too. So it's a really big week for this week.
All right. Yeah. Sadly, I'll be trying to win,
He was bad mouthing
but
you the
still good
whole
luck.
time. It was horrible. It was such. He was hoping you'd lost every match, and I had to talk him out of it. It was.
Well, I'm glad the stream got the content the first 2 games of you getting your catharsis then. But sorry then to bring it home.
No, not at all. No, yeah,
Uh,
we learned that Holy Pally is good, right? Like that's pretty much what we learn here.
5 games won by Holy Pally, yeah.
Honestly, the one that you won through the carriel was huge. I mean, admittedly, Nighthawk didn't like finish his turn really or something, right? He floated 5 mana and he was thinking through like a number of different
It-
plays. But like that was really
Yeah.
good since you recognize that at that point too, when you don't have carriel and you're sitting with smite and you have the board essentially, that basically the only way to win, right, is to just try to kill him. And so I think that was good recognition at that point in the middle of the match, especially in that kind of awkward mirror when your opponent pretty much has everything that he wants in that particular matchup. And that becomes the critical win, obviously, or at least I think so in this matchup, just because you are favored
Oh,
against the other
absolutely.
two, and so if you can just get over this paladin, you'll be fine, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had that choice to heal up, and I think by the time he saw that he could Holy Maki roll to get back up to 29, he didn't have enough time on the clock to actually do it. And so he kind of just ran out in his thought process. So in the next turn, you saw the lethal that we did not, which is
Yeah, we weren't
standard.
even looking at that.
Oh, really?
You were
Okay. I
probably
mean,
only
I've
looking at
been
that, I
calculating
assume,
that for a while.
because
Yeah.
you're like, this is your out, this is your way to win, right?
I mean, other than drawing Carriel specifically, like,
Right.
yeah, it was Carriel or Gardens or bust.
Right. That was good. It was well played.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I remarked to myself right at the beginning of that game, like, oh, I have the same curve he had the first 2 games.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just felt good. Anyways, yeah, thank you guys for putting on the stream on somewhat short notice. I know we had to reschedule.
No, thanks for wanting to play on stream. Great to cast matches in general, but even better when it's a critical deciding match.
Yeah, we appreciate it making it exciting and making it definitely enjoyable for the viewers and putting on a great show.
Rune to the moon, baby. Big smell mage to the top.
Oh, that's a legit deck. No, for real, man. You played a
I
weird
know.
version though, honestly. The other version, I like the version that plays the mailbox dancer.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I mean, yeah, I was trying to attack it really just as hard as possible against Rogue.
Against Rogue,
So,
right? Yeah, that's what it looked like. I was like, oh, this list is probably good against Rogue, but not as good against Holy Pally. All right. Thanks so much, Geranium.
of course. Have a good night.
All right. Well, that's all we've got for today. I do know that tomorrow there are some matches tomorrow night. At least one,
Yeah.
I believe.
There's 2.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
casting on that. Yeah, I'm casting tomorrow night in Sunday's Showdown.
Who's up?
So
Or
let's
who's
see.
playing?
See, now you're putting me on the spot.
Sorry.
Who's
I thought you knew
Yeah.
since you're like, oh yeah, there's 2 matches.
looks like I'm going to be casting with my Yanodon. My Yanodon.
Okay.
And it's
I see
going to
one
be
is Kalis Luna
Yep,
and
it's Chaos
Lymphysis.
versus Lymphysis.
That'll be a great one.
And
Former
there's
GM.
another one.
Former? I guess it's former just because GM's over. By definition, everyone's a former GM now.
And the other one is to be determined. I'm only saying that because I know it's here. I just can't find it off the top of my head. Wait, and it's going to be. No, that's all I know. So there are going to be 2. There are going to be 2. I just
Nice.
don't have the other ones listed right here in front of me. But it'll be another exciting night that starts at 8 tomorrow. I will do one at 8, one at 9, and yeah, looking
All
forward
right.
to it.
Well, thanks so much for casting with me. It's definitely a pleasure.
Always. It was fun to be on here, and definitely look forward to doing more of these in the future.
All right, so hopefully see you tomorrow. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye.
I hear you got a problem. You are not prepared. Another round? Why do you... You are not prepared! not!
This guy's toast.
Leroy! Not prepared!
Goodbye.